Next up, Panther, Young Life.
Appreciate you, sir. What's up, Barnabas, Sharks? Like I said, my name is Panther, and I'm here to talk to you today about Young Life impacting hearts. And so many of you may have heard of Young Life, but for those of you that haven't, Young Life is this massive international ministry that's been around for over 75 years. And the mission statement of Young Life is to introduce every adolescent, so that's middle school through college, to introduce every adolescent to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. And we are Young Life Impacting Hearts. We are the foster youth division of Young Life. But we did not start out as a Young Life ministry. 10 years ago, God brought it to my attention that we needed to be very intentional in sharing Jesus with kids in foster care, and that it wasn't happening well. So I started a ministry, and I called it Impacting Hearts. And 3 years in, God had blessed what we were doing in really unprecedented ways. And along comes Young Life, this massive machine, and they had also identified that they needed to be intentionally focusing on kids in foster care because of their unique situation. But they were having a really difficult time getting to these kids and doing it well. And so they decided that instead of reinventing the wheel, they would simply bring us on board. And so we joined Young Life, and it's been a massive blessing to be under their umbrella. As Young Life provides our entire infrastructure, they are our entire back office. They do all of our training, they do all of our insurance, and it really has been a blessing. And so I'm here today to talk to you in two capacities. One, as the area director or person in charge of Young Life Impacting Hearts here in Orange County, because God is doing amazing things here in your backyard, and there's opportunity for you to be a part of that impact. But also because I'm the foster youth guy in Young Life, we have an opportunity to take this model that we're developing here as our flagship here in Orange County and to replicate it across the entire Young Life network all over the world, impacting millions of foster youth and orphans with Jesus Christ. And so before I go any further, I want you to all understand why this is so important and why this has to be done. And since I'm a numbers guy, I'm going to share a couple statistics with you. And so the first is, kids age out of foster care, meaning they're on their own at 18. By the time they're 20, 2/3 of those kids are dead, homeless, or in jail. It's simply unacceptable. There's no stability in the foster care system. The average kid lives in 13 different homes before they age out at 18. 80% of the people that are currently incarcerated in the state of California are or were in foster care. And human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world. And 80% of the people that are currently enslaved in the US are in foster care right now. And the average age is 13. Something's got to be done. But the good news is that God is working. And so our mission statement at Young Life Impacting Hearts is to introduce every kid in foster care to Jesus Christ, to help them grow in their faith, to lead them towards self-sustaining adulthood, and to provide them the sense of family that they've been deprived of. We've all been impacted by Jesus, and our lives will literally never be the same for eternity. And we just want to have the opportunity to share that with these kids. And so I want to share with you how we do this. And to do that, I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine named Joseph. Joseph, when we first met him, was 14 years old. In high school, he was in a gang, he sold drugs, and he had just gotten a girl pregnant. Joseph came to one of our weekly clubs because his group home brought him. Now, our weekly clubs are a big part of what we do. A weekly club is a place where we take trained volunteer leaders and they hang out with kids in foster care. It's an event, and it's an opportunity to develop real, authentic relationships in a comfortable environment. And so that environment always starts with a fun, ridiculous game. And I just have to say that we do fun really, really well. Our games are messy. They always require a tarp. They involve some sort of shaving cream or whipped cream. Everybody's doing laundry afterwards. And it's leader-led, meaning that the leaders are the first ones in there and to get messy and to show the way for the kids. And this is just an opportunity to break down walls and to just create a fun, comfortable experience. Secondly, one of our volunteer leaders shares a part of their testimony. So they are showing and telling these kids how Jesus has impacted their lives. They're also modeling what it looks like to be open and honest and vulnerable and to know that this is a safe place where we can talk about the good and the hard things. And then we do a Bible story, almost always highlighting Jesus, because he is the hero, and we need to know who he is and what he's done so that we can be in relationship with God. And finally, club ends with a big family-style meal. And that's just another opportunity to sit at a table. Most of these kids have never done a family-style dinner before, and just to talk about your week and to go deeper into what they've learned in the message that night and just to have a good time. So Joseph came to our club, but he had his hood up, and he had a furrowed brow and no smile, and he sat in the corner and he didn't speak to anybody for weeks on end. But after a couple of weeks, he started to smile a little bit when the game happened, and then he laughed. And then a few weeks later, he actually responded to one of our volunteer leaders as they tried to engage him in conversation. And within a few more weeks, he was fully engaged in club, running around, having fun like a 14-year-old kid. What a novel thing. And so we took that and we took Joseph to camp. And now camp is another amazing tool that we have. Young Life Camp is fun, perfected. We do weekend camp during the school year and week-long camp during the summer. And camp is just relationship building on steroids. It is an opportunity to be with a leader who loves you and wants to tell you about Jesus 24 hours a day for 7 days. And you see everyone at their highs and their lows, and you remove distractions and hardships at home. And it's an opportunity to really hear the gospel in a way that makes sense. And so at camp, Joseph accepted Jesus into his heart and gave his life over. And we celebrated, and the angels celebrated, and it was amazing. But Joseph came back, and life was still happening. And all the hard things that he left when he went to camp were still there. And so he needed help. And so we did what we do with all the kids that will do it. We put them into one of our Campaigners programs. And Campaigners is just Young Life's word for discipleship. It's a group that meets outside of club. It's weekly. We study the Bible. We teach kids deeper faith truth. And we help them learn how to share their faith with their friends, to be leaders in club, to be leaders in their communities, in their foster homes, their group homes, and to be leaders at their schools. And so Joseph did that. And with the support of his friends and his leaders, he left his gang. He took responsibility for his daughter. And he became a true success. Joseph now is grown up. He's taking care of his daughter and his now wife. He is working a career job and is involved in the local church and volunteering at a Impacting Hearts Club in LA. And so he is a real success story. And we measure success, and not just through anecdotal stories like Joseph, although that would be enough. We also measure success through relationships. And the way that we do that is we can look at the fact that there are 500,000 kids in foster care in the US, 3,000 kids in foster care in Orange County, in our backyard. And 800 of those kids are in our age demographic, middle school through college. We have met over 40 of those kids. We have shared Jesus with over 40% of those kids. We have shared Jesus with over 30% of those kids, and we are intentionally pursuing discipleship with all of them. And it is really, really amazing. The truth is that our leaders are developing lifelong relationships with these kids. They are there at their high school graduation. They're there at their college graduation. They are best men and groomsmen and all of that at weddings. And our kids that are involved in this are outliers. They're not falling prey to the statistics that I shared with you earlier. And it's because their lives have value, because they know they were created by God with a purpose. And so what's happening here in Orange County is crazy exciting. But it's not just that, because like I said, I'm the foster youth guy in Young Life, and Young Life is all over the world. And so we have an opportunity to replicate this in every city where there's Young Life, which is every city. And our model works. It works in any city. It works with all social services, and it's really, really exciting, and I want to invite you into that. And what we're doing is sustainable. We're here in Orange County. We've done it in LA, and we just started one in Phoenix. And so finally, I want to ask you guys to turn to your feedback form on page 39, Young Life Impacting Hearts, and invite you into an opportunity. We need board members. We need leadership. We need people to help guide what's happening here in Orange County and to guide us as we replicate on a massive scale. We also need volunteer leaders to spend time with these kids, because the foster care system is broken, and it's a bad, horrible, scary place, and we sit in the mud and hold hands with these kids, and we do life with them daily, and we need adults that love Jesus to enter into that with us. I need a mentor. So if any of you think that that might be something that would be a good fit for you, answer the call. And finally, we need prayer. And the truth is oh, that's one. We have people in this room that are engaged with us right now. Dan Street, Randy and Melissa Lindros, Ron Henry have all been impactful in this ministry, and there's room for you. So thanks for your time, guys.
Jay, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And I still like your hair.
Thank you.
Hey, buddy, if you were to receive money, how would it move the needle? What would you do with it?
Yeah, so if the $25,000 we would use to start 2 new cities. We'd take $12,500 for each, break it up over 3 years, $8,000, $4,000, $2,500. And Young Life is so excited about what we're doing, they will match that money, so we'll double it. And so we'll use it as seed money to recreate people like me in other cities who can break the barrier to share Jesus and train adults to go in and go where the kids are and go to the group homes and go to the foster homes and invite them into kingdom. Cool.
Terrific, Jay. Thank you so much.